Welcome to my tutorial for Duel for the Sega Genesis. And yeah, this tutorial is going to move pretty quick because there's so much to explain, so I'm going to try to cover everything, and then at the end I'll give my thoughts on the game. So this game is very specific about what ammo you use, the amount of ammo, and exactly where to destroy the enemy body parts in what specific order. So keep that in mind when watching my videos, and I'm going to try to break it all down the best I can. So you can set your tries here to 5, which I recommend doing. But you can get in situations where you're completely fucked if you don't have enough ammo. You will not be able to beat the bosses. It's very specific. So for this first guy, this is the easiest enemy. So for this, I believe you wanted to kind of just destroy all his limbs first. I don't think it matters too much if you destroy the legs or the arms first. The legs will immobilize him, but he regenerates all his body parts except for his head, obviously. But you want to take out his 4 limbs and then just go for the head. And use your weapons that are... because you have a machine gun, which is pretty weak. But I believe they give you missiles and skimmers as well. So you're better off using the skimmer, which is like a larger cannonball type projectile. I believe it's set to C, the C button, initially when you start off. Because they give you a loadout initially for your first fight. But then you get to configure it later. Now, these are qualifying rounds. These are not bonus stages. So these are actually the hardest part of the game later in the game. Because once you know what to do on the actual bosses, they're not that hard. But these parts can be tricky because you have to get enough points to qualify, and the later ones get tough. So, basically, the smaller targets usually give you more points. Your qualifying amount is shown on the bottom right corner. For this one, it's only 1,250 points. Very easy. If you shoot the smiling faces that bounce around, you lose points, so avoid shooting those. And try to shoot the smaller targets when you can and group the enemies together to hit multiple at once. You also have to, you want to shoot ahead of the enemy that you're trying to hit, because the cannonballs are very delayed. It's very slow fire, so you want to shoot a little bit ahead of the enemies. Now for this, get 3 skimmers, 3 machine guns, and 3 missiles. That's what we're going to use for this fight. And I recommend, following my loadouts that I purchased. Very, very specific loadouts for each fight. A lot of times it's going to come down to your last pieces of ammo. First, take out these legs on this guy. You got to shoot them in the area where you see me hitting them, kind of on the joint of the leg. You'll know you're hitting a body part if you see a little orange explosion. That means it's hitting. So do the same thing again to the bottom arms. Now ignore the head and shoot this thing when it opens. Don't shoot it when it's closed, but it's hard not to do that because it's so laggy. The firing is so delayed. But try not to waste when it's closed, you're not going to hurt it. Then after you destroy that top part, that top pod, then you can go for the head and finish it off. Again, only use your machine gun to see if your shots are connecting. Don't use it for fighting. Use it to see if your shots are actually connecting and you see that little orange explosion. If you're getting a connection, then use your skimmers. Because those are the things that are going to do the damage, your skimmers and your missiles. But we're not using missiles as of yet. But the machine gun, I use the machine gun to see if I'm actually damaging the body part first, to see if there's any orange explosion that shows up. If so, then I'll immediately switch to the skimmer. The way it works is each button is assigned to a specific weapon. When you go in when you're in that shop that we just saw, there's 3 sections. If you notice, there's a left, right, and middle section. Those correspond to your A, B, and C buttons. So if you put skimmers on the first slot, it's going to be set to A. If you put machine gun on the middle slot, it's going to be set to B. And if you put skimmer or missiles on the third slot, then it's going to be C. So that's how that works. And the machine gun is really only used just to get a bead on your target to make sure you're actually connecting. And then you use the real weapons, which are the skimmers and the missiles. But we're not going to be using missiles until later because they're expensive and you really don't need them. You don't want to waste money in this game. If you run out of money, you cannot buy enough ammo and you cannot beat the bosses. And you also run out of ammo if you're not connecting with your shots well. So you have to get good at landing your shots. And now, if you wish to continue, I believe you start at the boss with all the ammo that you bought. initially. So you'll go back to whatever ammo that you purchased at the beginning of that fight. So you'll get that. But if you didn't have enough money to purchase enough ammo to begin with, then you pretty much will have to restart the game. So it's very important to have the right loadouts. So for this guy, first you want to take out his legs. You can use the machine guns to get a bead like I've been talking about, but you want to use the skimmers on his legs to take him out. Obviously, you cannot hit him when he closes up. So it is a bit of a pain in the ass because he dances around a lot. It's probably even better to wait until he stops aggressively doing that. I was trying to get in a lot of hits. But, you can end up wasting your ammo by doing that. So once you take out his legs, take out his arms. And now you'll see his head appears. It's like a little bulb that you have to break. Destroy his final arm and then go for his head. And I know it sounds a very odd order to do everything in, but there's a reason for it on every boss. Because if you don't do things in an exact order, a lot of times bosses will regenerate body parts, and basically you'll end up not doing anything. This whole game is pretty much about figuring out what to do on the bosses, exactly what to do. It's very trial and error. Unless you watch this video, then you should know exactly what to do. So this one is still easy. These bonus games don't get difficult yet. But, you don't want to spend too much time going for the smaller targets if you're having trouble hitting them. Because they are worth a lot of points, but, the flies are hard to hit. And if you spend too much time on them, you're not going to hit the other enemies. So try to group enemies together if you can. Like in these denser areas, you can hit a lot of shit. I mean, you definitely want to hit the higher point targets for sure, but you don't want to overly focus on them. And like I said, shoot ahead of the targets. Don't try to put the aimer on and shoot it. React immediately and shoot it like that. Try to lead the aimer a little bit forward, a little bit ahead of the enemy, and then the cannonball will reach the enemy around the same time the enemy reaches the cannonball, or the machine gun, whatever it's supposed to be. So yeah, get 2 skimmers, one missile in the middle, and 2 skimmers on the other side. So 2 skimmers on the left button, which is A, a missile on the middle, B, and then C should have 2 skimmers. So make sure that's what you bought. So yeah, to start off, take off the let me see. I believe you have to take off the right arm first, yeah, and then you want to take off the left. I don't know if the order of arms is super important for this fight, but I would follow it just to make sure. And then don't do what I'm doing here. Like if you shoot when he's behind the wall, you're pretty much going to waste your ammo, which, I didn't remember all the details. It's been a while, but yeah, you want to wait for him to come out. And don't attack him when he goes behind the wall. Just try to lure him out from behind the wall. And then take off his legs when you get the chance. As usual, you do not want to waste ammo, so try not to be wasteful. Then use your missiles that we purchased. Only use the missiles for his middle portion of his body, his torso, when all of his limbs are taken off. So the missiles are just going to be for finishing. Don't use them for anything else. And some of these fights are going to come down to the last bits of ammo. So like the loadout is really important. I'm sure I didn't make perfect purchases, but it should be good enough. I probably did over-purchase on a few fights, but generally you do have a decent amount of money if you use it wisely and don't waste money on bullshit weapons. There's a lot of weapons that are complete bullshit and seem like a complete waste. There's only really like 2 good weapons, the skimmer and the missiles, as far as what I remember. And the machine gun is only good to get a beat on the on the weak points, so you don't waste your real ammo. That's about all it's good for. I mean, if you have no other choice, you'll use the machine gun, but it's pretty damn weak, and you're probably not going to finish off most of the later fights with the machine gun. So yeah, same type of thing with the bonus stage, but they are going to get hard later on. So the same tips are going to apply. So for this, have 2 skimmers on the left, 1 skimmer in the middle, and 2 skimmers on the right. No missiles for this fight. Skimmers, will be fine. Because missiles are more expensive. You don't want to use them on every fight. So yeah, for this guy, you want to kill the arms first, then the legs, then the head. So it's a little tricky because he flies around a lot, but first you're going to, go for the arms. Or actually, maybe on him you take out the legs first so that he gets grounded. Okay, yeah. But see, the thing is, when you take out his legs, they grow back super fast. So with him, like, you really have to be quick. Like, I think it's the arms, the legs, and the head regenerates. So you got to kill the legs again and then kill the head a second time. And you can kill the head by shooting the neck, where the base of the head is. You know, at the neck, you can sever it at the neck or the head itself. Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. It's what I wrote down here was kill the arms first, then the legs, then kill the head, and then the legs and head will regenerate. Then you kill the legs again, and then you kill the head a second time, is what I had for my notes. So that might be more accurate, because Bob Rupples, he has this game memorized, my good friend, and he was directing me again to how to play this game again. So I think there was a logic behind doing it in that order. So yeah, for this is going to be more of the same. This one doesn't get, hard as of yet, but the later ones, there's actually maybe one or two very difficult ones towards the end, but, not really bonus games, because if you fail these, you lose. So they're not bonus games at all. And don't shoot those smiley face things that are rotating, because you lose points for those. And yeah, as usual, you want to kind of shoot ahead of the enemies, as you see me doing, and they'll kind of go into the stream of fire. The machine gun fire is super slow, so if you're shooting directly on a guy, it usually won't hit. You have to lead a little bit. So yeah, for this, you're going to want a skimmer on the left, 2 missiles in the middle, and 2 skimmers on the right. So first for this guy, you want to kill the left arm first. It's the arm with the hand, not the arm with the gun. So you want to kill the left arm first. And then you want to kill the gun arm. So you also do not want to shoot him when he's behind the walls. But yeah, kill the left arm first, then kill the gun arm. And let me see. Yeah, and now you can take out the legs when he comes back out. But you got to wait for him to come back out. You do not want to shoot at him behind the wall. So now that the legs are gone, you're going to use your missiles on his visor. I believe the visor is the weak point. Now there's a little man that comes out. This is very easy, but don't fight him behind the wall like I'm doing. Just wait for him to come out. And when he comes out, just roast his ass. Now the reason for killing the left arm first and then the right arm is because the right arm can replace the killed left arm. I think I think that arm is able to regenerate the other arm. It's like I said, the game is very odd with the order you have to do things in. So, definitely kill the left arm first and then the right arm. So yeah, now we have a slightly harder qualifying round. There's also going to be a trick coming up where you press start to freeze the screen in place, and then you can move the reticule independently so that the screen doesn't move anymore. And to do that, you press start, and it's basically a way to avoid damage and pull major bullshit on the later bosses. So it makes the bosses, quite easy. You still have to do things a certain way, but it's very, very easy. So, like I was saying, the hardest thing really is these qualifying stages later in the game. Because there's not really any tricks you have to be accurate for these stages. So yeah, now for this boss, we'll see what we're gonna buy for this boss. Yeah, 2 skimmers on the left, a machine gun in the middle, or no, sorry, a missile in the middle, and 2 skimmers on the right. So yeah, just follow my loadouts for these bosses. And of course, repair any damage to your mech in between rounds. All you got to do is highlight where the damage is and press A or something like that. It'll repair the damage. It does cost a little money. Now for this, you want to take off his claws first. And the best way to hit them is usually when he's standing facing you. because when he's moving, it's very hard to hit him. So take off the claws. Once you get these claws, take off his arms at the shoulder joints. It's a very odd place to hit, but around the shoulder joint is where the arms come off at. So we're not going to be able to use the machine gun to get a bead because we're not purchasing machine gun in these later fights. But so now you use missiles to take off his head. And when you run out of them, use your skimmers. So now you got to fight this flaming head. So use your skimmers to finish off this head. And we press start at the beginning to make sure that the screen is not moving and only the reticule is moving. If you don't do that, he'll take away like all your health pretty much. It's kind of like a little bullshit you have to pull. So make sure at the beginning of that fight you press start, and that'll freeze the screen in place. Then move your reticule and fight him like I showed. And you should not have much of a problem. It is still a little hard because he takes a lot of ammo to take out all the parts, and it's easy to miss a lot. So that fight can be a little tricky because it is hard to land, a lot of your shots. So like that is one of the challenges, even when you know what to do, is to land your shots accurately and not waste up all your ammo. So you can lose continues because of that. If you run out of ammo, you're pretty much fucked. There's nothing you can do. So when you waste a continue, though, it will respawn you with whatever ammo you had at the beginning of the fight. So you'll get all that stuff back. Your only problem is if you didn't buy enough ammo to begin with, then you're going to have to probably restart the game because there's no way to go back to the store and repurchase or earn more money or anything like that. So now for that one, I overqualified. I think that might be the most difficult of the bonus matches. But that one is tough, I believe, and so you may have to, you may lose a few continues on that until you get it down. Use save and load states to practice all this shit. The boss fights and the harder bonus stages. Because you don't want to have to start the game over because you messed up on a bonus. Well, it's not really a bonus stage. It's a qualifying round, but you need to do it. All right, so follow what you saw me purchase. You want to have all that stuff purchased. And then what you're going to do is fix the screen so that he's on the right. You're going to press start and adjust your screen so that he is on the... Well, actually, first you adjust the screen, then you press start to freeze the screen in place. So you adjust the screen so that he's in the right corner. And you got to wait for him to come out from behind the wall. And then you're going to take off his arms and then his legs. It's very easy if you fix it to the right screen because he can barely hit you if you do that. And now you're just going to finish off his head with missiles. But yeah, just look at what I purchased, as my loadout, purchase that same loadout. And just do it in that order. You just got to make sure you fix the screen so that he's on that right edge of the screen. It may work on the left side too, but I always do it on the right edge. So you want to use start to lock the screen. Once you have him right in that right corner, press start to lock the screen. This may actually be the hardest bonus stage. Actually, yeah, this might be the hardest one. But the last one is quite difficult too, if I remember right. But I think this is the toughest one. It's going to be the same principles, of shooting ahead of the enemies. But it can take a lot of practice and a lot of retries. It can be tough. I think I got these quite fast when I did the playthrough for the tutorial recently. Because I beat this game years ago. With Bob Rupples giving me feedback on what to do because he knew the game. Like I said, if you don't know what to do, it's very, very specific. When I was young, I actually got pretty far in the game by trial and error, but I actually always liked this game, but it's also kind of shitty too because it's very, very anal about what you have to do. But the concept is great. So yeah, this is the final boss. This is also very specific, but I'll try to explain it. So yeah, get what you see here. 2 missiles on the left. 2 missiles on the right. And I guess a machine gun in the middle. I think we're going to use that to get a beat on, so we don't waste missiles. So use the machine gun just to make sure you're landing your shots. Then you switch to the missiles. So yeah, repair all your damage. Now we're going to use that screen trick that we've been using. So first adjust your screen so that half of his body is showing. Then press start to lock the screen. Now take off his right arm. Do the same thing again to the other side. And now take off his left arm. And now when he disappears, stop shooting because you're not really going to be landing shots. And you may need to move if you see missiles coming out. You know, unlock your screen. Press start to unlock the screen and move again. Now lock the screen again with him on the edge and take out his legs. Now once that's done, you have to take out those cannons on his shoulders. You have to hit right in that black hole of the cannon. Take out each cannon. And now take out his head. Now after you do this, he's not dead. The game makes you think you won, but you didn't win. So keep firing at his chest. Otherwise you will instantly die and lose the entire game. It's very bullshitty. So keep firing at his chest after it says congratulations or that you won, because you did not win until you destroy his chest. Because a guy is going to, he's either going to shoot out of his chest and kill you. I believe he shoots you out of his chest and just kills you or something like that. And this is your shitty prize for all this work you put in. This is what you get in the end. It wasn't really worth it. But this is your fucking gift for destroying all that shit. But yeah, hopefully I broke it down, in a good way. It is hard to break down this game because it's very specific. But if you watch my video, you'll see I do things in a specific order. So if you're unsure, rewatch parts of the video and see what order I take out all the body parts in. And, with the screen, like locking the screen at certain points, follow all that shit. Because there's a reason that I do all that. And, it's going to take some practice with states. Use save and load states to make sure you got it down before you try playing through the whole game. And, yeah, this was the kind of game, like, I liked it, but it was, it's kind of a bullshitty game, too. So it's not really, I wouldn't recommend it as a good game or anything, but I actually like it. But it's really only fun when you actually know what to do, because otherwise, if you don't do things in the exact order, it's very anal. But thanks for watching.